Why is Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum, defending Sam Bankman-Fried when clearly he's put all his work at risk? Why is the New York Times defending Sam Bankman-Fried? Why are crypto scams still allowed on YouTube in 2022? What is going on? Doesn't it seem like something's weird here? The risk dynamic in crypto has changed. And so has the world. And you need to know this. Globalism is dead. And that is the world that crypto now has to operate in. We are in that time period where I've been telling you guys all year long, we are in a time that's extremely sensitive. So much as I don't want it to happen, FTX's crash is the type of crypto event that could trigger a big enough domino effect to happen. And the most important thing is that you're at least aware and you can make whatever decisions that you feel you need to do rather than not knowing. I don't want that for you. One thing I will say that I'm concerned about, that's the kind of thing that could cause a mass exodus from crypto, is crazy regulation coming from the EU. They think anyone not using their bloated, shitty euro currency is an animal. This is a blanket statement they made that shows no nuance or understanding or care about cryptocurrency. These people don't care that you lost your money. They don't care about money at all. They care about power. As long as you have power, you can print money. You can't print power. That is why governments never let a good crisis go to waste. Why would you let a crisis go to waste when you can use it to get more power? And truthfully, they are afraid that crypto, like Bitcoin, could replace the euro because honestly, the euro is a weak currency. It was at the moment it was created. And as I covered in the Europe video, the EU is going to be restructured and they have a central bank digital currency to push.
Where do we stand? We central bankers, we have been operating as a monetary anchor in relation to the commercial banks and the private money. If we are not in that game, if we are not involved in experimenting, in innovating in terms of digital central bank money, we risk losing the role of anchor that we have played for many, many decades. And we have historical examples of period where the central bank monetary anchor was not there, and that precipitated crisis after crisis. That certainly was the case at the time of the free banking in the 19th century. Do we want to go back to those days? Probably not. I would say certainly not from our vantage point, as a result of which we have to respond to the demand for those digital payments in order to maintain the role of anchor that we have been playing regularly.
They don't want you to have any alternatives, no viable ones. A Central European digital bank currency gives them power. All last week, after the eclipse on the 8th, I was all over the FTX story. I didn't get much sleep. And what I saw was there are regulators and politicians in the US on both sides, Republican, Democrat. They're close to the story. And they're as close to the facts as I was, and they're learning. And some of the best and brightest minds in crypto, I saw them stepping up to the plate, and they have to. This is go time. But, as we know from our last video, what we discovered is that there is collusion between FTX and the highest levels of government. And that's real. I heard from the ex-White House Chief of Staff, a guy who probably knows what he's talking about. I heard him say directly, Congress, they have hearings, they don't do investigations well at all. And they don't do nuance well at all either. So when they do push regulation, it's heavy-handed. And there's a lot of people in Washington, D.C. that roll in the same circles as Europe and the EU and the WEF, the World Economic Forum. These are people that either don't understand crypto at all and they don't care, or they just know all their friends and European connections hate it, or they know what crypto's about. They hate it, and they are a part of the downfall of everything that's happened with FTX. And then of course you have a few of them that also own Bitcoin and are hoping for the best of us, but we'll see. Because I think we know which way the majority leans when it comes to crypto and government. Basically, the ex-chief of staff said they were going to look back 100 years and find whatever regulations they can give them that will give them any precedent, past precedent, to regulate crypto today. They will go through all the old bills, all the old cases, to find whatever they can find that will give them authority to do what they already want to do. They know what they want to do. All they need to do is find legal justification to do it, and it's done. And he said it himself, that Washington does not let a good crisis go to waste. According to him, if the USA wants to do crypto regulation the right way, we have about 6 to 18 months to get this done and to educate the regulators on the right way that crypto should be regulated. So if regulation comes sooner than that, then you know what that means. For Europe, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw regulation by Q2 of 2023, even as early as March of 2023, when Pluto enters Aquarius for those couple of months. We'll see what happens. Saturn will be moving into Pisces in March as well. 2 big planetary movements. We'll see what happens. Look, we need innovation from younger generations to keep economies bullish so that old timers have prosperity to enjoy when they get older as well. Crypto was that innovation. And Saturn authority figures have been battling with this since the Saturn-Uranus square series began. It's a very natural cycle. Decentralization, though, it's very Aquarian. It's new. This is a pulsing energy that we're dealing with. And Aquarius is about using technology and our own intellect to serve the best of humanity and to serve what's best for the community. But it does it in non-traditional ways that are ahead of its time. This is decision time for that trend, for this Aquarian energy of decentralization. Is it going to work in crypto or not? The chips are stacked against crypto. Decision time is here. Will crypto actually be able to live up to the decentralized promise that it offers? Not needing to be regulated by one central authority. The people can vote, the people can have their own governance. There's money that can be trusted because of code. You can just trust the algorithm, right? Can crypto prove on that promise? Can it actually be an alternative that solves the issues of human greed, corruption, and power when it comes to our money? Decentralization is an idea. It's time for it to prove itself. So I've been paying very close attention to how the media and all those big names, both in crypto and in politics, have been navigating this situation. And so with that, here we go. And it all looks rather questionable to me. Why is Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum, defending Sam Bankman-Fried? Not only that, the timing of the changes that have happened to Ethereum. Why did he switch how Ethereum operates? Under the way it was originally created, it had blessing from the SEC. It was not considered a security. By changing the way it operates, now that's in question. Now, 99% of the projects that run on Ethereum are at risk. If you're interested, look into a company called Library. Their crypto is how most cryptos on Ethereum are. They lost the case. What does that say for the future of Ethereum? So the founder of Ethereum put it in a position where Ethereum and 99% of the crypto projects out there might very well be labeled a security. Good job. Completely useless then in the United States. They'll go the fate of Library. Why is the New York Times defending Sam Bankman-Fried? Sam borrowed and stole all this money and had no intention of paying back. So why would the media be so nice to him? You know why? They're doing the same damn thing. They're borrowing and stealing money with no intention to pay it back. That's how they operate. That's how they think about the world. So how could Sam be a bad guy to them? He's just doing the same thing they do. And he gave them the money. Did he not? These governments have no intention of paying their debts back. That's why if you're one of my clients, you know that I've advised you to hold on to short-term treasury bills, short-term duration. You don't need to buy government debt that's going to last 30 years from now. They won't. They're not going to do it. They never have. All currencies based on government faith and trust have failed throughout history. They don't pay people back. If you haven't figured it out by now, FTX was used as a Trojan horse to bring in central bank digital currencies. That's the fate of crypto. And while Bitcoin might not suffer the same damage that most of the cryptocurrency might, it's still going to fall under that same umbrella. They can't have a better alternative than the central bank digital currency they want to sell you. Here's the woman in the US that's going to be overseeing Sam's case. That's right. A year ago, she was blowing him kisses, probably out of gratitude for all the money he was giving her and her friends in that department. I spent all week long from the eclipse as close to the realest news as I could get, and I realized that crypto, again, was at the point where it needed to prove its use case. And what did I see? All the biggest names in the space, all the old heads, people that have been in crypto forever, begging for regulation. People who understand the original ethos of Bitcoin, that it's about peer-to-peer transacting, not needing a middleman, not needing Visa or MasterCard or Canada to say, yes, we approve of this transaction between you two adults. These are people who know that you don't need government or anybody approving your transactions between you and another human. And here they are, begging for regulation. Now look, don't misunderstand me for thinking that I think all regulation is bad. I've worked in the corporate world. I know what manufacturers would be doing if they didn't have regulations. They would still be dumping shit in the ocean. But we've already heard from the US, the ex-US, chief of staff, about how this is probably going to go. Well, here it comes. And here's Europe saying they're likely going to ban privacy coins. Of course. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? All these centralized exchanges too, they're going to end up like Coinbase, where you have to give them your address and your photo, and they want to know the customer and all that stuff. And it's like, well, what was all this crypto innovation for? Just for all these companies to end up like Coinbase? Bitcoin will never be the same. Don't think that I'm just against regulations out of paranoia. These people said crypto's for animals, and in the US they said we don't do nuance in Washington. Bitcoin's astrology tells us that governments will do as much as they can to track it, to tax it, and to confiscate it. So you're going to need to be someone who's up to speed or wants to be up to speed with that and can avoid that. Or you live in a part of the world where your government won't do that to you. Not only that, the way the SEC and these regulators have been working with Bitcoin, they've created or allowed what is essentially paper Bitcoin. Paper Bitcoin is a problem. FTX themselves, like I alluded to earlier, they increased the Bitcoin supply by 25% with fake Bitcoin. Fake representations of the real thing. You gotta watch for the stuff in the digital world. Fake copies of things, that's gonna be an issue. It's gonna be another reason for things like digital identification online that we'll see throughout the latter part of the decade. If you know what an ETF is, the SEC has encouraged this. They've approved 6 Bitcoin ETFs they've approved. None where you can have an ETF where you're actually buying Bitcoin. They don't want you to have that. Oh, no. But fake Bitcoin, oh yeah, you can have 6 different ETFs. Pick your kind. What kind of fake Bitcoin would you like today, sir? That's what the SEC has allowed. Why? Why don't they want you owning real valuable assets? Probably the number one rule about Bitcoin, if you don't know it, is if you don't have the keys to it, you don't have the coins. Not your keys, not your coins. It's the same thing that I've been saying in terms of Taurus and possession. Make sure your wealth can't be stolen from you guys, because people want to take it. That's really the takeaway. Not good. We're going into the latter part of this decade, which is going to involve a lot of war. That means power grids are at risk. Can't use digital currencies without electricity, guys. All digital currencies, not just Bitcoin, not just crypto, but even these central bank digital currencies, during this decade, they're going to be problematic, especially with energy issues. They won't be perfect. Human innovation never is, we know that. So if you understand all that, and you believe in Bitcoin, I'll just remind you, this is the most sensitive time in markets. I've said it, I've been saying it for months, and here we are. Bitcoin is bottoming. during this time period, right? So if you have the savvy, this is maybe you could consider that. You should have a plan and keeping it safe if you believe in Bitcoin for the long term. And you should really be thinking about being into Bitcoin as more of a means of exchange, like for the scenarios I explained with people who are in countries that are ruined by hyperinflation and they're using Bitcoin instead of their local currency. Think about Bitcoin for the long term rather than just a get rich quick method. Bitcoin will have another bull market cycle, but it will not be like the old ones that we're used to. And now you know why. So, until next time, be well, one love to you, and peace.